Hello, and welcome everyone to this live workshop today. We are super excited to be hosting this session with you. Thanks a lot for joining us and for being part of our community. We have a fully packed agenda today, and as always, for those who've joined us in previous workshops, we would like to make this as collaborative as possible. So if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to ask in the Q&A section at the top of the menu bar during the session, and we'll try and answer those live. And there will also be the opportunity towards the end of this workshop to have a more open forum where you can you can ask questions directly to us. We also noticed that there's quite a lot of French people that are in the room with us today. So bonjour à tous. And before I hand over to Amanda, who's gonna run the show today, we wanted to run a quick test to see if you are as excited as we are to be here. So this is a technical test. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this works, and you should actually get. Here we go. A quick poll today. So, are you feeling energized? Please feel free to respond and tell us how you are feeling in the room with us. So let's just submit this, and it looks like it is working. People are answering, mostly super energized, somewhat energized. Someone, fair enough. Fortunately, we do not have any deflated people in the room with us today, but it's okay. Even if you are, we're here to cheer you up and share some fantastic information with you today. So without further ado, I will now hand over to Amanda, who's gonna run the show for us. Amanda, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So for me, it will be a very, very quick presentation just to put a little bit of context and straight away jumping for a live demo. Feel free to ask, like Bertrand said, any question. The aim is for us to answer to all your questions you might have around the style profile. So just here the agenda. So what is the style profile? Just a quick reminder, how does it work in general? And then we'll go live with the demo and the interface examples. So Style Profile is a feature that has been introduced in 2021, July, with the version of K2 Five 5.5. So it started with the introduction of a component that you will be able to just configure, and that will change the layout or the display of your forms, and you can apply it to some of your forms. Then it introduced as well advanced colors. What they call advanced colors is the possibility to change even more colors, whether it's the tab color, the tab that is selected, the button, etc. They upgraded it with the version 5.6 with the possibility to add CSS and JavaScript files directly. So even more customization is available now using those feature. And recently they added the 5.7, I think it was September, if I'm not mistaken. And this one made it possible to preview your style profile and custom CSS and JavaScript on your own forms without basically having to change and apply the style profile to your forms. So we'll view a little bit of everything. So regardless of the version you have of Nintex K2, you will see how you can basically interact with those elements and how far you can go with those elements. So how does it work? all forms have already a design, so nothing is a white canvas when it comes to K2 forms. So there is already a structure, and on top of that, you have the theme that we are all used to. So lithium, platinum, SharePoint, all of those that we normally used. And now we have the possibility to have the style profile. So you need to deactivate what we call now the legacy theme to activate your style profile. And then on top of that, you have the customization that you know from the forms, on the forms level, control, etc. So you need to understand that type of layers and the sequence where it's loaded, just because of the priorities. So the design will be applied based on priority. The first one, like I said, being just a basic K2 design, so nothing really fancy here, just a white canvas and some colors here and there. Then you have the legacy theme or the style profile. So here, for example, you can change the colors of elements within K2, so controls especially, and type of elements, so adding main button, destructive buttons, etc. Then you have the possibility to apply your own CSS and JavaScript. Will take priority compared to the style profile colors. And finally, whatever you change directly on the form level, the view level, or the control level will overwrite whatever is in the CSS and JavaScript or style profile. So that you need to understand when you start basically your company design or graphic charts. It's just to make sure that to understand where you want to give the flexibility to the developer. Do you want to lock everything and you put more priority on the CSS and JavaScript, or you give them the possibility to override by changing just the views, the tables, the cell, the control layout? All right, let's go to our demo then. So here I have a server with K2 installed and a SQL database, and it's on the latest version, so K2 Five. The idea is to show you the different possibilities, and then you'll see how far you can bring your design there. So the first thing when you start creating a design, I would recommend to create a preview form. A preview form will have basically the titles, the text box, the everything that you need basically to see very quickly how your theme is applied on every element. Because the way Nintex K2 works, there is a lot of dependency. So changing a color might change another color. So by having everything in the same page, it makes it very easy for you to assess if there's regression or not on your theme changes. So don't forget to add also all toolbar buttons now that we can change the colors, the pop-ups and everything. So here I have a preview form with most of the controls, some of the list as well. I've tried to put a little bit of everything to test my design. If you want to create that one, don't go from scratch. They did already a pretty good job putting most of it. So you just have to select here system object and search for preview form. And you have this one, the one that K2 uses for the style profile, so you can easily do a save as, and then from there you put it in your folder, and then you can add more elements. There are some controls that are missing here, and the pop-ups, etc. So you can add more in that one. Once you have it, so I just created here, sorry, my form. I'm going to create a new style profile. So here is the screen that you have as soon as you start your style profile. You have the main color, you have the content background color, and the panel background color. Those three colors will determine basically all the different colors you would have on the application. So if I go to here, developer, and I change even just one color, so let's say my main color will be a red one, and I go back here, then the titles, when I go into a control, the selection, everything will change accordingly with that color. What it does in the background when you change those three colors is that it recalculates every advanced color. So if I go and change again for green, you would see that some colors have been recalculated automatically to match with the green and the associated colors that look good together. So be careful when you do changes, for example, on the advanced colors. If you do put another color here, some of them will be recalculated, some of them won't be because of the changes that you have made. So this is the basic that is available in 5.5 in terms of version. And then you can go deeper in the changes. So if I want here to change only the page title, I'll just put, I think it's page title color. Here we go. And then I'll put whatever color I want. And here I see the result. The new capability. So if you have 5.7, you can also use browse and search for one of your forms. Here I have my forms with more controls, the list view, etc. And I can see how it's applied in my context. Again, you can change pretty much everything. So in terms of, in terms of tabs, in terms of buttons, and also now we have the possibility on the latest version to change the colors of the icons. So we cannot add icons, we cannot change the icons, but we can change the colors. So the toolbar button, the add toolbar button with the plus. So you have two main colors. You have this one, the blue one, and you have the red one. So if I go and if I toolbar, here we go. Toolbar icon highlight color, icon descriptive color, base color, and base secondary. So if I do put the highlight color in green, the descriptive color in pink, and the base color may be a little bit different, see that it does change sometimes the associated colors based on the changes you do. And if I go back here straight away, I can see that it has changed the colors of my buttons. So those are the variables. You can change mostly the colors. There is no size at the moment that you can change, or the font or anything very more advanced than the color basically. So but you can pretty much change a lot. You can add also, which I find it very cool, transparency. So when you do put a background, a nice background, and you put some transparency into your form, then you have the background that the background image that shows slightly, which makes the form a little bit more modern. In terms of the 5.6 version, they introduced the external files. So on this part, you can add now your external files. I don't have an external files, but I've put my files on the K2 server, and I can use here a relative path. So when I deploy it, basically I won't have to change the link or anything. It's just it takes that one straight away. You have also something that is that you need to consider is the order when you upload that. So it will be loaded in that specific order. So if you do want something else to happen in terms of the behavior, changing the order is will impact basically your design. So here you can go back and change, and you can see straight away that applying it has changed the design for me. All right. So that's how you can start with style profile. You can play with it. You can then see how it impacts elements. Then if we want to go to an advanced style profile with JavaScript, CSS, etc., we'll go a little bit deeper, and I'll explain how I started with to have that one. So that is my company portal. It has only a banner, which is a view with a drop-down list. It has here, in that case, and I'll show you two different possibility to do it. But in that case here, it has a data label, and in that data label, I'm returning this data just as a list, basically. With the CSS and the JavaScript, I'm able to render the layout of that form, being able to add the background, put it at 100%, etc., and force elements. So when you create a new form and you put my style profile, it just it take priority. Basically, it removes if you put 80% in the form, I just bypass it and I put 100%. So I don't want developers basically to have the freedom of changing the layout. I want the layout to be very strict for my company. So this is how it should be. So they can just apply it. What I wanted to offer, though, is flexibility to the end user. So we have different colors in our company, and I wanted them to be able to choose from the layout they would like. So here, bear in mind, it's the same style profile. I didn't change anything on the style profile. I didn't want to touch the main colors, the advanced colors, etc. So I left it as it is, but I just created a CSS and a JavaScript with very few lines. I was able to do that, and I'll show you in details later. So if I go to red, different background, different type of render my menu for the application. If I go to orange, for example, this is a left menu, and I can put animation. And if I go to yellow, again, it's the same menu, but I'm just displaying the different data that is here, the translation. I'm putting everything into the left side. So even for your global application that are used in different countries, different region, you can reuse the same application, but just with a little bit of trick, it will have a nice layout for everyone. I've been asked, by the way, to have a purple design from someone on LinkedIn. So here we go. You got your purple one. Then from here, for example, I can access to a new request. And this one again, I have my new request with information to fill in. And I can leave the choice to the end user to change the colors. Maybe based on the colors as well, I can interact with the elements, so it doesn't. So it does display it differently, and they can choose how to display it basically. And so here I'll show you quickly how it has been done. So I have normally, here we go, let me go there. So what I do normally is one JavaScript that will do some action to change slightly the HTML behind the forms. Then I would have the profile variables. I will explain how it works. And then I will have the CSS where I put the customization in it. This one, the progression bar, is a specific one just because I wanted to display on all my request form where we add so a nice render of the process view flow, but just user-friendly one. So if I go back here on my JavaScript, what do I do first is I add a custom class. So I add a class on body form runtime content runtime form. Why do I do that? Is when I do put anything on the my style profile CSS, I always put the AMO, so theme entry being the class of K2 plus AMO. One, it takes priority. Two, when I do not this one. When I do, for example, try to see what is applied, I can easily say if it was me that did the change straight away. So it helps me as well for the debug. Then from here, I have a couple of function that I can call, but it's very just a little bit of trick here and there. So for example, for the banner, you can target an element still based on a class or something, but if you want a specific view to be on top of the tabs, so for example the banner here, you will need to target it still with the name of the view or an element on the view or something like this. I didn't find yet a better way to target that specific element. So hopefully something that will come in the future where we can add maybe a CSS class attached to a view, and then basically it will change directly without having to do these elements. So here, my JavaScript that loads only here my Google icons and elements that are above or below the tabs, and I add my custom class. The variables here, so that's something else. K2 uses variables that you can interact with on your style profile directly. So here, I haven't changed the colors here. So here are all the variables they have, but they have a way to apply it that is more specific than here. So here, if you change, for example, the button background color, it will change the button background color for all the buttons, for example, where here you get more flexibility. If you go to your form, if you basically go just to the CSS of it, you will see basically how it's all the variables directly on your forms here. So you can, I just copy pasted basically all of those ones, and I put it here and I change it. It gives you more flexibility because one same variable will be applied at different level. So let's say, for example, if I take this one, you can see that it is applied here at the form level, but it also applied here on the view grid elements, and then a little bit on the toolbars, etc. So if you want to go deeper as well, you can use those variables, change the colors, but also where it is applied exactly. So you could have completely different toolbar button, for example, on a list view with a search bar, without a search bar, a toolbar button on a item view, on a different than a list view, and you can really go into very different layout for each element. So that's pretty good. I leave it separated to not mess up with it, and I have another style profile CSS where I put the customization. Here to offer the possibility to the end user to change the colors, for example, what I've done is just that on the change of that dropdown, I add or remove a class. My class is called AMO purple, AMO red, AMO orange, and based on that, I only change, I have here applied some of my variables, so our AMO purple, red, orange, yellow color, and then I just apply it to a common variable that I will use everywhere. So for example, here my background image is AMO background UL, and the UL is different if I'm with AMO yellow, AMO orange, red, or purple. And that gives you, with the only one style profile and one CSS file, a lot of flexibility, and you can finally offer more choices to the end users. If you're comfortable with JavaScript, you can push it even further. So here, for example, it's a different portal, same logic here, it just displays a list of elements, but here I didn't, so I used on the previous one a stored procedure to render these elements just by applying div classes. So I know it's not the best practice, correct me here, but it's just, is it this one? Yes. So I did it like this, just because if you have more knowledge on SQL, it's definitely not the best way to do it, but at least you can easily maintain it. It is what it is. But if you have more JavaScript knowledge, you can also expose some of the smart object using the APIs, and then call from the JavaScript your smart object, and then render it the way it should be, which is definitely the way to follow. But you need to be comfortable as well with the JavaScript and calls on the smart object using the APIs. So this is using the JavaScript and rendering the information differently. On this one, we added a little bit more elements to it. So we added, for example, here a functionality that I can remove or add, and easily I can, if I add it to my style profile, CSS or JavaScript, then it's available for all applications straight away. So for example, the possibility to talk to someone from support, the possibility to translate an application, you would be able to give feedback and take screenshot automatically, to block access to the application for maintenance purposes or when you deploy an application. So you can think of different small functionalities that you would like to give all the users, regardless of the application you've built. So that's a way to do it as well. We have also, based on the person connected, if he has the admin rights, the possibility here to add the applications directly. So if I put onboarding application with the link, obviously it's not the right link, but with the link, here I can select another icon and save it, and there we go. And you have the new application that is displayed. So you can think of better ways to even interact with the form itself for the end users. You have also the possibility here to introduce the light or dark mode elements as something that you something that is a choice from the end user, or also directly from the system. So here, if I change on my system and I go to dark mode, then it takes it automatically. So that's also something that can be nice to put in place. There is nothing less well, annoying than having everything in dark and straight away an application that is full white. So here we go. We have seen much of the things that I wanted to show you. Obviously, you can go even further with it. So opening the pop-ups in a nice way on the right corner. You can open the subforms on the side with a slide. So the more comfortable you are with JavaScript, the better it can be in terms of animation as well. So I don't know if there are questions so far. Otherwise, I'll continue on. the presentation.
Thank you, Amanda. Yeah, we'll leave you breathe for a minute. Right. Yes, we had a question that came through whilst you were presenting all of those examples, and I guess the question was, as K2 developers or low code developers, how can we, integrate this in our teams? This new kind of way of developing user interfaces, because some of the things that you've shown looked probably a bit more complicated than what we're used to. So how do you manage that?
Well, we have done that for several customers where they have already applications in place and they would like to offer a new image of it. So something more modern, more I don't know, related to their basically company colors, etc. So it's good to have that preview form, like I said, to be able to test just the beginning of it, so the colors and everything from there. Once you have that nice layout, then there is also a consistency that needs to be applied on the application. So that is not only the part of style profile. Style profile is good for the, like I said, the colors, the rounding. But once you have the base done, make sure that you are aware that there will be changes as well in terms of the user interact to make it consistent through the applications.
Okay, thank you. So I guess what type of technical skill sets would you need to be successful with this new way of creating user interfaces?
None. Design, maybe a good eye, which is not that easy. Trust me, I tried. But it's you. With the style profile basic version, the main colors and the advanced colors, you can go very far. You also have more possibilities on the forms that we didn't have before. So for example, on tables to be able to put border, transparency, shadows, color the cell. So you could design a lot of things that will be nice. The issue or the downside of it is time consuming. So if you have 5 sections that you would like to split and you want to have a nice color between those sections, where in CSS or JavaScript you can easily just rename that cell and everything that has a underscore blue at the end will be blue, and you can change the color straight away. If you have to do that in 10 different application, just using your K2 skills, you will need basically to go through the cell and change the colors one by one. So that's time consuming more than anything else. But there's always your friend ChatGPT, who is helping a lot with CSS and JavaScript, and who helped me a lot as well for this one. So a little bit of CSS and JavaScript, barely the minimum. Trust me, I'm not a guru when it comes to CSS and JavaScript, and this is how far I could take it. So a minimum of that is enough.
Great, thank you. So I know that one of the reasons we wanted to bring everyone in the room virtually today was probably to have a bit of an exchange, and I know you specifically, Amanda, had some questions that you wanted to ask the community at large. So for this section, I guess if you guys want to speak, as in when we ask questions, please just raise your hand, and then we'll unmute you so that you can obviously take part in a conversation. So yeah, Amanda.
Yes. So if there are no questions, for me, I had a couple. So for example, where is your best practice when it comes to storing your CSS and JavaScript? If you have started using basically style profile, what do you recommend? What is working for you? What is not working for you? Also, what is the, do you use colors of the style profile if you're comfortable with CSS and JavaScript, or do you use a mix of both? So part change on the style profile and part change on the CSS and JavaScript. We've tried different possibility. We've tried without changing at all the style profile and see basically what we could change using only CSS and JavaScript. I think I liked it that way just because it was easy for me. I was sure that no one will be able to touch the CSS and JavaScript. That was the designer who was doing it, and just creating a style profile, adding the CSS or JavaScript that you wanted to apply for that application is then easy, because you cannot say that for this application I would like these elements, but for that application I would like different elements. So if I don't have the progression bar, for example, in my application, why am I loading the progression bar CSS? So having no changes on the style profile and having only everything in the CSS that I can call or not, that worked quite well for some of our customers. Others preferred a mix of both, so mix of style profile colors and just very, very few elements on the CSS and JavaScript to keep it to the minimum, to be more supported or future-proof when it comes to K2 will add more variables. Obviously, we'll add more possibilities in the future to change. So going into the standard is always a good thing as well. So you have less regression if you keep upgrading your platform. So that's something else. And how far you let the developer do changes. So do you prefer a style that is locked and everything should be the same? Or do you prefer flexibility, and to which level?
Okay, the crowd is a bit shy today. So we, hold on. Here we go. Yes, so the recording will be available after the question just now. Recording will be available after this session. I don't know if anyone wanted to share their stories, their anecdotes, maybe challenges that they may have had or encountered during using the style profile. Yes, we have Salah here. Hold on, I will try and allow your mic right now. So I think, Salah, if you want to unmute, you should be okay to come and speak with us. You will need to unmute, Salah. I don't know whether.
Oh, okay, it's me. Sorry.
Hello. You are here. You are in the room. Fantastic.
Thank you. I just had a quick question for Amanda. You know, when you started your demo, you showed us a file called the style profile variables.css. Could you please, because I think I didn't get it, how did you build that file?
Yes,
the
sure.
Style profile variables. I know you talk about it, but I think I didn't understand well how you did it. And it looked like it was a good idea.
Nice. So here we go. I'll go, so I'll just create a form, new form, test without anything, just maybe a label. Here we go. And finish. If you here go to ELF12, you have basically whatever is applied to your form, and you have in those CSS file all the variables that are used by K2. So if I take here, where did I? How did I find it again? Sorry. Okay. So from here, so that's the one that I've loaded, but you have the same in K2. So from here, normally you can see all the variables that are displayed on a K2 form. I think if I just copy the preview, you will see it. Preview form. Oh, runtime. There we go. And here we go. And those are the variables basically that I've copied, all of them, and how they are applied. So it's the same as this one that I took.
Okay, so I can just copy paste the file combined resources, right? This one?
Exactly, yes.
Oh, okay, I'm just going to write this combined resources and I will find it back. Okay, thank you. I think I get it now. Thank you. You are in mute.
Thank you. Usually the problem, right, sits between the computer and the chair. Yeah, we know this. Good example here. So thanks, Dalaf, obviously for your question. So I was saying that we have Richard that's asking a question here that says, can we see the K2 design view of the dashboard again that was shown earlier? And he's curious as to how the SQL part was injected into the view. So there was a dashboard earlier.
So do you want to see how basically I'm not following the best practice?
There you go.
So this is my company portal, and I have the banner here. I have the menu. On the menu, I only have a data label here that I put 100%, and I put a space on the tooltip to avoid basically when you go with your mouse having a lot of messages displayed. And on the other side, I have a table with my applications, category, type, if it's a link or category, the name of my application, the icon here. I'm using just the icon names of Google material icons. So when I change the name, it gets the other icons, the sort order just to display in a logic order my applications, the link you can put direct link of your application or the link of your relative path, and I will probably suggest to do the relative path of. So if there is a HTTPS, then you don't complete it. If there is no HTTPS, then you put the runtime URL of your K2 So when you deploy it, you have the right link everywhere. If it needs to open in another tab, or if I have a content URL, I'll put false here, so it does just pass the information to my content URL, and that's how I display basically the banner, the menu on the left side, and then I can basically, when I click on it, change the form in the URL content. And here it was for the translation for Arabic. How does it work is I do pass. So this is what my store proc is giving me, which is definitely, so anyone from that does a little bit of design will definitely hate me for that. But this is basically, I rendered just the text and I put div and classes on every element. So the sections, the categories and the menu. And then I do apply my style on the elements. So on the app menu section, the fact that it's flex, so it goes one after the other one. On the purple and yellow theme, I wanted to have that kind of border with shadow, etc. Where on the red one, I wanted something else. The orange, I wanted the left menu. And then you can play basically on the design side. So that's the way I did it, because I'm more comfortable, to be honest, with SQL than JavaScript. But another way to do it, and I won't go into details of that one, but you can easily ask us at a different time and we can show you as well. It wasn't me who did it. It's to go to, I think I had it open. This one, was it this one? Nope. And to have the JavaScript calling the smart object directly. So we have created smart object based on those tables. So same logic here, but we didn't create any stored procedure that rendered the data. It's just the data are in the tables the way it should be, and then we just call using JavaScript to get the data, and then basically render it the way we would like it to be rendered. A different way as well will be to have that as a list view, and then really push the CSS further down. I know that's someone did a pretty good demo at Nintex, pushing that far, the design as well. So you have 3 different options here. I would recommend to still use, even if it's not the best practice probably, but to still use something that you are comfortable maintaining. The whole team is comfortable maintaining as well.
Cool.
I hope I replied.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Amanda. I don't think there's any more questions coming. We are running slightly behind is an understatement. I think before we close, we wanted to run a final poll around what you feel would be a good idea for Nintex to develop in future around style profile. So we come to you with a few questions. You can obviously select multiple answers, but yeah, if you'd like to take a minute to answer those, then that will enable us to take that back to Nintex and potentially even to focus on those kind of elements in a future workshop. Very good. So while this is happening, we had a question earlier. Yes, we will share the full recording of this session with everyone right after we end here. We would like to thank everyone again for taking part in this session. We really enjoyed it. I guess as a takeaway, if there's things that you feel we have not covered, if there's things that you want to talk more about, just simply connect with us, contact us directly. We can absolutely spend a bit of time with you and show you more of those tips and tricks and how to make things look better into your own K2 platforms. So thanks again. We'll send a recording, and we also keep you updated as to when the next workshop will be. For now, this is us. Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.